Well, if you look at the social research, David, we know what the absence of a parent means to a child in a home, what the absence of a mother, what the absence of a father means to a child. They're more likely to suffer emotional disability, lower academic performance.
But what you're saying is then a single parent
in their adult life. And what Regner has discovered is you have two same-sex parents, you have a lot of exactly the same pathologies. In fact, Regner looked at 80 different outcomes.
Yeah, but the Regner is, please let's not talk about Regner. I'm talking to Bryan Fischer here.
Well, David, you can talk about anything you want. I'll talk about Mark Regner because the University of Texas has signed off on his research.
Yeah, but you're losing credibility. It's been debunked. I want to talk to Bryan Fischer. It's making you angry. I know it's agitating you.
Okay. Well, David, you're talking to me, and you want to know what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about Mark Regner's study.
But explain to me the experience of being in that household.
David, he talked to adults that grew up in same-sex households. You can't get research that's any more solid than that. And they're adults, so they're able to reflect back and look at the long-term impact of being raised in same-sex households. Now, Regner said there's 80 outcomes I measured. In 77 of those 80 outcomes, children that were raised in same-sex households performed more poorly or performed poorly compared to children raised in intact.
Bryan, it's been widely debunked. You should check out Abby Goldberg, Professor Abby Goldberg's research. I mean, the study's bogus, but I guess we're bogged down in that. You know, honestly, I want to be very clear. I do feel kind of sorry for this anti-gay movement because you guys are going to lose, and this is going to be like when people were against integration, and it's going to be sad when we look back at it, being on the wrong side of history. I do feel bad for this movement. You and the chaplain and the God Hates Fags and Paul Cameron. It's a sad state of affairs. I really do. I wish you the best, though, in all seriousness.
Well, the parallel with integration is absolutely false.
I know you think that.
And you know it because race is immutable. You're born that way.
And people are born gay or straight, I know.
But no, they're not born gay.
When did you decide to be straight, Bryan? How old were you?
David, people are not born gay. In
fact, so when did you
look
decide to be straight? How old were you?
A researcher at Columbia and a researcher at Yale. They did a longitudinal study of identical twins. If kids are born gay, if people are born gay, then if you have two identical twins, they both ought to be gay. If one of them is gay, the concordance rate ought to be 100%. Instead, it's between 5 and 7%. So that's proof.
Yeah, I know identical twins that are gay, and I know some that aren't.
They're not born that way. And you have met ex-gays. I've met ex-gays.
I've never met any ex-gays.
Well, I have, and I've had.
But Bryan, when did you decide to be straight, though?
So the point is, David, it's just like Colin Powell said. The parallel with race, when it comes to homosexuality, is convenient, but it is invalid. I'll stand with Colin Powell on that one.
But Bryan, when did you decide to be straight?
I will stand with Colin Powell.
So you don't have an answer. Okay. Could you be gay now? Could you change your attraction to men now?
The parallel is convenient, but it is invalid. And David, the point here
I hope you don't stand with Colin Powell on that Iraq information, too.
Sexual behavior is always a matter of choice. That's the bottom line.
So could you change your attraction to men? I know you can control your behavior, but could you also change your attraction to men?
David, listen to me.
You're not answering any of the questions, though.
Listen to me, David.
Yeah.
Sexual behavior is always a matter of choice.
But I'm talking about attraction.
Your question.
I'm talking about attraction.
Attraction doesn't matter.
Really?
Because it's what you do with that attraction that is the issue. You can ask Tiger Woods what happens when you yield to every sexual attraction that you feel. It'll destroy your life.
So we're not hearing when you chose to be straight.
Sexual behavior is always a matter of choice.
Okay. So maybe next time you can tell us what age you were when you said, I will now decide whether to be gay or straight. I guess we can't get that answer now. We've been speaking to Bryan Fischer, of course, Director of Issues Analysis at the American Family Association, host of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Think about, would you be able to just change your attraction to men? That would be a fascinating study, I think. We will examine that further next time. Bryan Fischer, thank you.
Hey, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, David.
All right, take care.